Your client might feel really at home in the kitchen and also might be pretty good at being able to pick up a variety of healthy food choices when they shop, but they also might need help in other areas of lifestyle and weight management. But what about the client who might not be interested in spending time in the kitchen, or someone who might feel uncomfortable preparing meals? This client might come to feel that they're forced to prepare foods that they really don't want to eat. Let's talk about some of the ways that we can help a client in this situation. We can't fault a client if they're the type of person that just really doesn't enjoy coming home to prepare a meal for their family after a hectic day at work, or even the type of client who has different eating patterns than those typically seen or viewed as ideal. Although it's pretty customary for us to come together for large meals, our lifestyle has brought us to a point where it's sometimes more convenient to dine out or to consume fast food. But being able to prepare meals at home will allow your client more control as they try to stay on their eating plan. Now, preparing meals at home is less expensive and allows the client to learn a new lifestyle habit. It can be tempting to provide fast food options to our family if we're busy, but there really is no real reason for this. Supermarkets now provide the consumer with a wide range of choices ranging from frozen foods, packaged meals, and even some of the foods we typically think of as gourmet, such as prepared sushi rolls or other items that we would normally think of ordering in a restaurant. Session 11 is about redirecting the client to understand the value in preparing food at home. Express to your client those benefits related to being able to consume foods that are prepared at home. This way we can control nutrition better and understand more about the ingredients that are being used. Your client will also learn the value of preparing healthier meal choices instead of eating foods outside of their plan. With the educational aspect of the lifestyle and weight management program, your client will learn the value of concepts such as the nutrient density of foods or the potency of the vitamins and minerals that they contain. When the client learns to purchase fresh produce and other healthy food choices, intake of calories can be controlled or understood better as they move into a habit of learning to prepare healthier meals at home. If your client is able to make meals that are satisfying in terms of taste and nutrition, they are also more likely to stay within the guidelines of their personal strategy and pyramid. Encourage your client by suggesting the preparation of balanced meals while being mindful of portion controls. Sometimes we need to remind our clients that eating a meal at a restaurant will also affect their wallet due to the fact that we can always make less expensive meals at home. Your client might state some concerns about having time to prepare foods in order to stay on their eating plan. For this client, it might be a best practice to remind them of some time-saving tools. Provide recommendations for this client to allow them to problem solve with realistic strategies to address time constraints. One of the best ways to resolve time constraints at the end of the workday is to have your clients make the most use out of their morning routine. But we really want the client to be able to facilitate healthy eating plans throughout the day. Talk with your client to see what time-saving techniques might be useful for them in the kitchen. Enjoying meals that have been stored away in portion-controlled containers and then frozen is just one way that we can help our client to save time. If your client is already practicing a habit of preparing meals at home, they might only need to fine-tune their methods and their techniques. We can then try to use what we call the RISE method to reconstruct recipes that they are more likely to prepare at home and to be able to make them healthier or more ideally suited to their plan without any major changes while at the same time decreasing preparation time. Substituting healthier versions of prepared foods is an effective way of controlling caloric intake. Suggestions for reducing less healthy ingredients or incorporating nutrient-rich ingredients into recipes are ways for the client to be able to still consume the foods that they enjoy while staying on plan. Encourage the practice of reducing items like sugar or saturated oils in the preparation of food. This might require that you coach your client to buy into the thinking that prepared items can be made healthier without anyone being able to notice that changes have been made in terms of taste, quality, and overall satisfaction. Encourage the client to incorporate more nutrient-dense foods and ingredients into their diet overall. This could be, as an example, adding fruit into gelatin or even trying soy products when they can be appropriately substituted. Of course, we've already talked about whole grains and multigrain foods as being more nutritionally dense, so encouraging consumption of these types of foods is always preferred and should be suggested or recommended. Other examples would include substituting healthier versions of items typically consumed on a daily basis. As an example, dairy can be purchased in low or non-fat varieties and may not be difficult for the client to substitute. Switching to broth-based soups over those that are cream-based is an additional suggestion that you can use to provide your client with one way to help incorporate a healthy change into a recipe. Since saturated animal fat can be problematic for most of us, switching to cuts of meat such as turkey and fish are also good ways for the client to stay on plan without major changes to their food intake. Another way to cut down on calories is to substitute with spray oils requiring use in much smaller quantities when sautéing food in oil. It's one thing to make a suggestion for our clients to make the most out of those times in the morning when it's important to be planning breakfast or lunch and even dinner for some clients, but it might also be a good idea to make sure that your client has some tools to make meal preparation easier for them. And this would be in the form of those small kitchen appliances such as slow cookers or crock pots, and even microwaves or food processors, which have revolutionized how we prepare food but also can be really useful in helping us to save time. Storage containers and buying food in bulk are also ideas that you may want to convey to your client in order to help them save time during meal preparation. You might find it helpful to provide your client with some tips for how to improve the dynamics of preparing meals. Now, encourage the use of recipes that make use of less than 5 ingredients. This will simplify the food preparation process for the client. You might also be successful in having your client to prepare meals ahead of time, for instance on weekends or on their days off, and then store it in portion containers for consumption at a later time. This way your client can make their meals once or twice a week while allowing them to have more time in between those major meal preparations. Adjusting recipes to make food in bulk might require that your client double or triple quantities in recipes. Be able to brainstorm and troubleshoot any ideas with your client to facilitate the flow of food preparation. This could mean having the proper setup so that food can be prepared more easily before it's actually cooked. And as a lifestyle component to all of this, having the client clean as they go may help to alter or change any misconceptions of the cooking process needing to be equal to creating a scrap heap in their kitchen. Some clients with families can turn this into an opportunity to have more quality time with family members and to make it a family activity. Meals that incorporate several components of an eating plan into one dish and one main mode of preparation are ideal. An example of this would be a stir-fry or a casserole dish. Anything that helps your client to cook with more ease and more efficiency is ideal and will help them to eat more meals at home and allows them to control more of their food intake. For a client who may see this as a challenge, ask probing questions to be able to efficiently troubleshoot. Sometimes this can be related to or tied back to feelings of being overwhelmed by their eating plan or not knowing how to shop for the appropriate items. Your role is to be able to assess what the need is and to redirect the client as needed. If you feel that it is either necessary or appropriate, remind the client of the big picture, and that would be their eating plan and their goals. This should be done while emphasizing a balancing of lifestyle and weight management factors, so being able to provide specific, detailed tips or recommendations to your client might be required. Work toward a greater understanding within your client's mindset when they're putting meals together. Balance should be emphasized. Meals that contain a variety of items are the backbone of the lifestyle and weight management pyramid plan. If your client tends to select meals in the way of frozen dinners, as an example, this might be okay because it's convenient, but you might need to also coach them on how to enhance these meals with portions of vegetables or other items that might make them more balanced and more nutritious. For the client trying to balance time, recommend preparation of breakfast or lunch items as far ahead as the night before in order to save time the next day. In some cases, you may need to be really specific by helping the client to pick specific foods that they can choose during the week to make sure that they stay on plan, and this might include coaching on how to select healthier versions of these items towards that goal. Simplicity is also important. Suggest that clients save the preparation of more complex meals for those situations when they have time to do so. A well-stocked kitchen might be just what your client needs in order for them to be successful in this program as they try to incorporate a more healthy pattern of eating and healthy cooking into their daily routine. Many times, something as simple as a well-stocked cupboard with canned goods can go a long way in helping clients in terms of convenience and variety. When fresh produce is not available, canned vegetables can be used in their place. It would be appropriate to recommend that your client stock their cupboards with less refined starches, such as whole grain pastas or brown rice, to make it easier for them to stay on plan. Other items that you may want to recommend include the use of monounsaturated oils such as olive or canola. When your client is aware of all the different options that they can incorporate into their eating plan, they also come to find that eating healthy does not mean that food intake has to become boring. Remember that the Lifestyle and Weight Management Program encourages variety. Food storage extends beyond cupboards into freezers, where we might also consider the recommendation of frozen vegetables to be a best practice for those who live in locations that don't have access to fresh produce at certain times of the year. Time constraints can be perceived by the client as an insurmountable barrier. We want to have clients try 2 of the time-saving techniques that we have shared with them during the next week or between this and the next session. Remember to ask your client to provide you with any food or activity logs. Before concluding session 12, ask your client open-ended questions to determine if they are clear on the benefits to using time-saving techniques as well as the benefits of preparing meals at home instead of eating at fast food restaurants or while they are in risky environments.